r/MaliciousCompliance. You demanded my entire team be at the office for the 4th of July. Fine, enjoy paying for the office party. Story 1. So this starts on Monday, the 13th, as I receive an email from a vice president not over my department or bad VP. I'm told that my team will be required on the 4th, and I politely tell them no, that our team has been scheduled this day off and people already have plans. My team is the IT team, and as many of you know, IT teams get shafted every time it can get shafted by any company. So over the course of the week, I let my team know what's happening. I let them know that I've been reaching out to higher-ups to fix it, and I also tell them that if their plans are ruined, I will make it right at work. But over the course of 3 meetings, it started to look like things will not go my way. In response, I sent an email to the CEO of the company. All my higher-ups know I was going to do this and said I should do this, as he is very family-oriented and that he would not allow anyone to work on a national holiday. Well, it turns out he's on vacation in the Bahamas until the 6th, but his assistant informs me he would look at this after he gets back. Repeatedly slams head into the desk. So I tell everyone that it will be work from home and that we will be setting my cell phone as a priority in the call routing, meaning I would get most of the calls. To be honest, I was expecting almost 0 calls, especially since I was asked to send out a notification that IT support would cover the 4th of July. I never sent that email out. A day later, I was given another outrage. I was told in an email that my employees would be required to be at the office and no one was allowed to work from home. They would be checking the door badge-ins to verify we were at the office. I asked why in an email, and they said that they wanted to make sure no one was playing video games at work. We normally work from home about 2/3 of the week, and video game playing is a normal occurrence at work. So I walked into the person's office. After a very long conversation where she was losing the logic war with me, she told me that, "It's just IT, you guys don't have lives." And no, I'm not kidding you, this is exactly what she told me. So I reported this to my VP, who said, "I'll take care of this. It likely won't be until after the 4th, so get creative." Now I know this man well, we've worked together a long time, and get creative is code for the corporate mess up. I asked the person requiring us to be at the office if they cared if we had an office party. They said no, as long as it did not interfere with the call flow. Even suggested using my new company card to pay for it. Go wild. Pro tip, never tell me to go wild. At this point, it was Tuesday the 21st, and I let everyone know what's up, but I have something planned. I asked who had things planned for that day. 2 people told me they were planning to shoot off fireworks with their family, but the rest were planning barbecues with their friends. I write up an email to the VP of my department and the bad VP. I tell them all that I let everyone know. We were all expected to work until 8 p.m. Monday. Per the conversation with the bad VP, I'll be having an office party as a sort of sorry to the guys and gals who got shafted by this decision. The bad VP replies again, "Thank you for your understanding. Also, yes, I would expect an office party if I had to work on the 4th of July as well. So go wild and enjoy your time. Use your new company credit card if you need to cover a few expenses. Also, I should not have to remind you or anyone else, no fireworks or alcohol on company property." So now it's time to tell you about my office. See, a while back, the IT team was moved from the main corporate office and into a smaller building by itself. It has a nice gaming break room, a decent-sized gym, and a full-on drink bar. Soft drinks, mind you, no alcohol at work.
Psst. Let's be honest. Does your room look dull as Yeah, well, most do. Luckily, I just launched Rufus rugs. Custom, hand-tufted rugs. And no, this isn't some BS dropshipping company. We have a warehouse in Canada where me and my friends hand-tuft every single rug. So if you're looking to bring your room to life with some awesome anime rugs, or literally anything you can think of, we can get it done for you. From Rick and Morty to The Last Airbender, we've got you covered. Hit the link in the description to get a free quote.
Now out back is a big patio that crosses county lines as soon as you cross a small creek. A creek that just so happens to have a footbridge over it leading to an empty field. So I start making phone calls. Monday, June the 25th. I call up everyone into an hour-early meeting that morning. I explained to them all that I'll be making it right. I asked everyone to invite their friends and family to the office. No supplies will need to be brought by anyone. I tell them all that this will be non-alcoholic, but that I will be planning something for everyone. I told them to expect all food to be provided and that they don't need to bring anything else unless they want to bring some fireworks. They won't have to spend a dime. So the 4th comes along, and the entire day we did absolutely no work. No tickets and no calls came in. Well, 7 calls did come in, but from the same person, the bad VP. She was calling to make sure we were manning the phones. All of us were playing video games or watching movies. 6 p.m. rolls around and everyone was told that the food was ready. People were expecting hot dogs, hamburgers, and maybe a bratwurst or two. What they got was a full-on barbecue feast with pizza and other foods. There was smoked brisket, spare ribs, smoked sausage, smoked turkey, both kinds of tater salad, coleslaw, green beans with bacon and onion, potatoes au gratin, pizza from 2 different places, excellent hamburgers, and bratwurst hot dogs. On the side of the dessert were cake, very good cookies, 4 different kinds of pies, and about 2 pounds of fudge. Families and friends started showing up at around 6:15ish. Some brought alcohol, but I told them that they would need to leave that in their cars as I was not that crazy. Some weren't too happy about that, but agreed as it was a free dinner for random strangers. So let me set the scene for you. I'm out there with all calls routed to my cell phone and everyone just having a good time. We have a ton of people there just enjoying the fun night, chatting about random stuff, eating the food, and occasionally lighting off some sparklers or throwing firecrackers into the stream. It's not stocked and only 1 foot deep. My VP, not the bad VP mind you, showed up with his family and brought some water balloons for the kids and man-children. Around 8:30ish, it's getting dark and people want to shoot off more than the simple sparklers and firecrackers we'd been using. The VP over the IT department had everyone cross the footbridge, over the county line and off company property, mind you, and we set up a big wooden board using it as our launch pad. We fired off what we had for an hour or 2 and sort of just hung out for a little while. At around this time, people were getting tired and ready to head home. I told people to take home leftovers, within reason. We all clocked out at 8 and no one left until about 10:30. The bad VP did call once more while we were out back at the party. It was around 7:50 and she called asking for a status update. My exact words were, "Well, you were the only one to call us today. The rest of us are on the back patio enjoying the 4th of July shindig." She simply acted like my boss and said, "As long as no alcohol or fireworks are on company property, I do not care." We ate roughly half of the food catered. The rest was taken home. A small group volunteered to stay behind to clean up, including my VP. We had a funny conversation about how this will make waves with the bosses. But he said he had my back and asked me how much this cost. I just gave him a sideways look, which made him laugh. Tuesday morning comes around, I submitted the expense report to my VP. Now this email would inevitably make its way over to the bad VP and up the chain to the CIO of the company. It would be a bad idea to give out the exact cost of the party, mind you, but I can tell you that because of this 4th of July party, new rules were put into place. Any expense of over $4,000 or more must be approved by the direct supervisor or VP over the department, and the full expense report must be sent to the finance department for review after the fact. Hint, the party cost over $6,000. The barbecue was the most expensive part. I did not order from a low or mid-tier place. The place I ordered from has consistently been in the top 10 in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex listing for the last 30 years. I ate at that place so much that I made friends with the owner. The best barbecue I've ever had. The cakes and the pies were custom made by a bakery, and the cookies were made by a boutique cookie place. I had 10 to 12 packs of Coke, Coke Zero, DP, DP Zero, Pepsi, and Pepsi Zero. I bought 5 pepperonis, 5 sausage, 5 cheese, 2 Hawaiian, and 3 cheeseburger pizzas from one place, and nearly the same number from another place. Excluding the cheeseburger ones, I subbed out those for a different specialty pizza from the other place. The burgers were from an excellent burger place that did the catering. I know that owner well too, and he brought his kids for the night of fun after he heard what was going to be happening. He was also the one who brought the brat dogs, as he recently added those to his menu. This was the most expensive office party in the history of the company. The only things more expensive than this were some business meetings that the CEO rented private rooms in high-end restaurants for. As for the CEO, he was outraged. Not at the cost of the party, mind you. He knew the party would not have been necessary if people had been allowed to go home in the first place. He was outraged that IT was the only group required to work on the day. When I submitted the log showing how we received no real phone calls, no service requests, and that we basically watched movies and played video games during our shift, he had heard enough. He apparently sent out a scathing email about work-life balance and the importance of our holidays to every upper management. It was kind of funny, as people wanted me to get in trouble for what I did, but the reality is other departments have done similar things in the past, just not on the scale that IT did. Now, the bad VP was admonished quite effectively and sent me an apology email. I forwarded it to the team with a strong hint to not reply. Then my VP let the CIO and the CEO know about what the bad VP said, that you guys don't have lives. The bad VP did actually confirm she said it in a meeting with her EVP, and it did not go over very well. I have never heard people yelling in an office meeting like that before. The CEO of the company came to our office and yelled at her. Not sure if she was fired, but she was not at work that day. In Active Directory, she does not have the down arrow of death, so not 100% what happened to her. I know she lost whatever clout she had at this company with her attitude. If anything more happens, I'll update you, but so far, it looks like the fallout from this is I caused a new rule to be put in place about how much you're allowed to spend at one time. Now, the bad VP may or may not be let go or forced to resign, but I do know she got yelled at. Strangely, there is now no longer any pushback for my bid to get everyone back to working from home. Story 2. Are malicious compliance only do what's in my job title? Fine. Good luck paying employees. So I was doing work outside my job title. The supervisor gets mad and tells me no. I stop and the company is unable to pay employees for 2 weeks. The vice president finally caves in and gives me a promotion to do said work outside my job title, along with a raise. I work for a construction company as an inventory admin. My job is to basically schedule counts of our warehouse and input the numbers they give me for inventory. Then try to see what the problem is when the numbers on the last count and current count don't add up. There's a little bit more to it, but I'm not going to bore you with the specifics. The problem with this job is that when you've been doing it long enough and are pretty good at it, there is less work to do. In the beginning, when counting one rack out of 60 racks of material would take a few days, it was fine because I was always busy. But now that everything is in order, the entire warehouse can be counted in 3 days. Now this leaves me bored most of the time, so to fix this, I studied up on our cloud-based ERP service that we use for all internal and external transactions and have become sort of an expert on it. Every single aspect of this company uses this ERP service to do its job. Timesheets, HR, payroll, accounting, scheduling, management, manufacturing, ordering from vendors, delivering, inventory, etc. They all run through this ERP service. So it's very important that this service is up and running perfectly 24/7. I became so proficient in this service that our VP decided to cut ties with our consultants of the ERP because I could do what they did, but better, quicker, and much cheaper. Now for reference, we were paying these consultants $5,000 a month just to be on standby if we needed them for some sort of problem that could arise from using this ERP, and had to dish out more money to fix those problems depending on how many hours of their time was spent to fix said problems. I'm not sure of their exact rate, but it was something like $200 an hour, and they took weeks to fix anything, while I could fix the problem in time for my daily afternoon break. I never got an official job title or raise of any kind for being an expert on the service. The company just saw me being able to do it and let me fix things that happened, so they no longer needed the outside help. I wasn't too upset because it gave me something to do, so I was glad to help the company save money, even if none of that money fell my way. So, skip ahead a few months. We now have a new warehouse manager, and someone in the warehouse messed something up in inventory by sending a bunch of materials to the wrong job with no records of it being shipped. We're talking about $500,000 mess up here, and on the same day, our enterprise resource planning, that ERP service, had an update that caused a bunch of bugs with our accounting department. So I decided to work on the ERP problem first because the warehouse mess up is more of a delay mess up, and not actually stopping anybody from doing their job at the moment, while this accounting problem means our bills are not able to be paid. You can guess what kind of issues we will have if bills are not paid. The ERP bugs turn out to be quite big and numerous, so it ends up taking me a couple of days to figure it out, but I fix it before any bills are actually due and decided to take lunch a little early to celebrate a victory. Crisis averted. The new warehouse manager storms into my office after I get back from lunch and is livid. Apparently, the bosses were pinning the blame on him for the warehouse mess-up, and considering he's the one who oversees shipments and personnel in the warehouse, the blame is rightfully placed. He starts laying into me, asking why I have not fixed the problem yet, yelling and screaming like a child. I tried explaining that I was fixing an ERP issue and had not had the time to look at the warehouse problem just yet. He gets even angrier and notes that it's funny how I have time to take early lunches but not do my job. Now that started to piss me off, but I held my tongue and kept calm about the situation. He then ordered me to only do what is in my job title and to leave the ERP crap to the people competent enough to handle it, as he put it. Since this guy was technically my supervisor, I had no choice but to obey. I asked him to send me that in writing, and he snarks and storms back into his office. 5 minutes later, I get an email stating that under no circumstances am I to work on anything related to ERP unless it involves inventory. Cue malicious compliance. So I do nothing but inventory from that point forward, knowing damn well that we would be essentially coasting until we hit a problem that I would refuse to fix. Sure enough, not even a week later, I get an email from HR that some sort of bug in the ERP system was preventing them from accessing payroll to pay employees this week. I reply an apology that I am no longer able to work on ERP bugs due to the supervisor and to refer to the ERP system help guide for further assistance. I knew the help guide was not going to help her in the slightest, but it was no longer my problem, so I was not going to deal with it. Skip a few days later to Friday, I checked my bank account in the morning before getting to work and laughed because there was no money deposited. That problem never got fixed. I hurry up and get to work, excited to see the chaos unfold, and what I was expecting was an understatement. When I show up to work, I see the entire warehouse staff of 50 people walking out at the front door. I stopped one and asked why they're leaving, and they replied, "I didn't get paid today, so I'm not coming back until I do." I go into the office and see the warehouse manager in a panic. He has jobs that need material and nobody to load it onto trucks or deliver. I ask him if he needs help with anything, and he just screams at me to leave his office because he's getting phone calls out the ass from superintendents of jobs asking why our material has not arrived yet. I pass by HR on the way to my office and see a bunch of the bosses huddled up over her computer with her with angry and confused expressions on their faces, I guess trying to figure out the problem. I felt bad for her because it was really something out of her control, but I knew she would ultimately be okay, because she had been there for so long that they would never fire her. When I get to my office, I see the VP waiting for me there. He has a very pissed off expression on his face. When we get inside, he demands to know why I did not fix the problem in HR when she emailed me about it. I replied that I'm no longer allowed to work on ERP problems as it is not in my job title. He has a most shocked look on his face and asked why all of a sudden I had a change of heart. I show him the email from the warehouse manager, and I could see the dots connect in his head. He immediately storms out, and I see him heading straight to the warehouse manager's office. They were in there for a few hours, but eventually he comes back to my office. He seems calmer now and asks me politely if I can fix the problem in HR and if I can resume fixing the ERP if needed. Now at this point, I liked the relief of responsibility and told him I would only do it if he put it officially in my job title, along with a raise. His calmness turned to anger again, and he says, "I cannot believe you," as he storms out and returns to his office. A few hours later, he sends out a mass email that he has hired the old ERP consultants to fix the problem and that next week everyone would be paid for the money they are owed, along with the money they earned if they returned to work. Now this one surprised me, as he would rather pay over $60,000 a year to consultants than give me a few extra bucks an hour for better work. I think he expected me to change my mind and just do it for my own paycheck, but I decided to wait because I knew how these consultants were, and if they managed to fix this problem in a week, I would streak naked through the office. Most of the warehouse staff agreed to return, but were still upset about not getting paid. Sure enough, next Friday comes around, nobody gets paid again. At this point, it is becoming a real problem and the entire staff is becoming agitated. They have bills to pay. I even heard a bunch of the warehouses talking about some competitors nearby they could go work for. At this point, I even considered just fixing the problem because the warehouse didn't deserve to be treated like that due to poor management. Maybe I'm the ass here for this, but I'm severely underpaid and can barely afford my apartment, and there's no reason I should do extra work for free. That same day, the VP returns to my office and hands me papers. These papers said that I would be promoted to a newly created position that dealt with inventory/ERP upkeep. It would be its own department and he would be my direct supervisor, also came with a pretty hefty raise. All I had to do was sign and agree. I looked up at him after reading the paper and he just had the saddest look on his face. Please, just sign it. The consultant said it would take them weeks to get around to fixing it due to the high volume of clients they have taken on, and we cannot keep skipping paychecks. I happily signed it and immediately got to work on the HR issue. Managed to even fix it that same day. It was just a simple problem with the permissions of HR and payroll in the ERP due to an update.